Oak Island has been a mystery for centuries, with legends suggesting Vikings sailed there before Columbus, the lost treasure of the Knights Templar, and pirates buried gold deep underground. However, new evidence suggests that the Romans could have been there too. The search for these artifacts was not easy, and it almost cost a man his life. One of the biggest mysteries of all is Borehole 10X, a deep, dangerous, water-filled shaft that has been the focus of treasure hunters for decades. Dan Blankenship, one of Oak Island's most dedicated searchers, believed this borehole could lead to whatever was buried deep underground. However, Borehole 10X was not an easy dig, as it goes 235 feet deep, starts with a 181-foot vertical drop through a reinforced steel and concrete shaft, narrows into a 44-ton long tunnel only 27 inches wide, and is submerged in murky water with zero visibility. The Lagena brothers, called Harvey Morash and Michael Gartz, two professional divers, were brought in to explore 10X. They knew the risks, but were not prepared for what happened. Michael would act as a safety diver while Harvey descended, and the crew on the surface would stay in touch through an underwater communication system. However, things started to fall apart a few minutes into the dive, with no signal or voice. The team on the surface had no idea if Michael was safe, and they tried to call his name but could not find him. In summary, Oak Island has been a mystery for centuries, with legends suggesting Vikings sailed there before Columbus, the lost treasure of the Knights Templar, and pirates buried gold deep underground. The mysterious Borehole 10X remains a mystery, and the Lagina brothers' plan to explore it was not well prepared for the risks involved. The team was in a panic as they were underwater, unable to communicate or find Michael. They tried tapping on the pipe to send signals, but no sign of him. The surface people were tense as they couldn't shoot straight up due to the dangerous decompression stops needed to prevent serious health risks. A light appeared beneath the water surface, and everyone breathed a sigh of relief. Harvey made it down pretty far, but inside the narrow part of the tunnel, things got even worse. There was zero visibility, thick clouds of silt made it impossible to make out any shapes or objects. Harvey felt his way around the walls trying to figure out what was down there, possibly old wooden structures, broken rocks, and random objects. The drill bar was a massive 20-t-long metal bar that had accidentally fallen into 10X decades ago. It was wedged inside the tunnel, blocking the way forward. Harvey tried to maneuver around it, but the space was too tight, and for a moment, he was not sure he could get out. He had to twist and push himself backwards, scraping against the rough walls, and his breathing got heavier. However, he managed to get free and start heading back up. The whole experience made it clear that 10X was not going to give up its secrets easily. They knew they had to switch things up, as the shaft was dangerous and unpredictable. Oak Island had plenty of mysteries left to explore, and they were not going to let one setback slow them down. As they were shifting their focus to their next steps, Charles Barkhouse walked in with an artifact that had the potential to change everything they thought they knew about Oak Island. Charles revealed that a Roman sword had been discovered in Mahone Bay, just off the coast of Oak Island, found back in the 1940s by a local family who had been illegally scalloping in the area. After years of secrecy, the artifact had finally come into the hands of the Oak Island team. The sword itself was a bronze or brass weapon with a distinct hilt, which immediately caught the attention of the team. The discovery of a Roman sword near Mahone Bay in North America has sparked numerous theories and debates. Some believe it is proof that Romans had traveled across the Atlantic centuries before Columbus or Norse explorers, while others are skeptical, arguing that the sword could have been brought to the island later by European collectors or through trade routes. To test the sword's authenticity, experts at St. Mary's University in Halifax conducted a chemical analysis. The team found that the sword resembled ceremonial weapons given to gladiators and high-ranking Roman officers, with the hilt featuring Hercules, aligning with Roman symbolism. However, the results were inconclusive, as some elements did match Roman metallurgy, such as copper, tin, lead, and arsenic, all consistent with ancient Roman bronze. The cast of the sword did not fit known Roman techniques, suggesting a later time period, possibly medieval or early modern. Some experts suggested it might have been created in the 18th or 19th century, inspired by Roman designs, or even deliberately placed there by someone who wanted to add to the mystery of the island. A second opinion was sought when Dr. Christina Bro, a chemistry professor specializing in metal analysis, conducted a more detailed scan. She found that the sword contained a high amount of zinc, which was not typically used in ancient Roman bronze. This suggests that the sword was modern brass, not ancient bronze. This was a massive blow to the theory that Romans had been present on Oak Island. However, not everyone was convinced, as some pointed out that certain ancient mines contain naturally occurring zinc that could have ended up in Roman bronze through natural processes. The team's efforts to find a definitive answer to the question of whether the sword was truly ancient have led to a new understanding of early transatlantic travel and the history of the island. The Oak Island sword discovery has sparked a controversy in the island's history, with some experts arguing that it is a modern fake or a product of 19th century craftsmanship. Others believe it could be a genuine ancient artifact due to its unique metal composition and discovery location. Oak Island has been teasing treasure hunters and history buffs for over 2 centuries, with multiple discoveries suggesting otherwise. For example, Roman-style crossbow bolts were found on the island, matching the design of bolts used by the Roman military. Some argue they arrived via trade routes much later in history, possibly during the age of European exploration. Others suggest this could mean the Romans, or someone carrying their weapons, visited this part of the world long before Columbus or the Vikings. The famous lead cross discovered at Smith's Cove is still debated, with some researchers linking it to the Knights Templar, a mysterious order that supposedly traveled across the Atlantic to hide their treasures, while another theory suggests it could be even older, possibly dating back to the Roman period. The discovery of the Oak Island sword has sparked one of the biggest controversies in the island's history, as it has sparked discussions about whether the Romans truly were there. The island has a habit of serving up objects that have no logical reason to be there, including what some claim to be Roman artifacts. Oak Island, a small island in North America, has been the site of numerous archaeological discoveries and debates. The cross was analyzed, and lead composition was traced back to southern France, an area under Roman rule at one point. This could mean an ancient expedition reached Oak Island centuries before anyone else. Another curious find is the inscribed 90T stone discovered deep in the money pit, which contains symbols that no one could immediately decipher over the years. Researchers have tried to crack the code, and some believe the markings resemble Phoenician or Roman arrow scripts. The strange stone roads and platforms uncovered beneath Smith's Cove are not natural formations, but deliberately built by someone. Some researchers believe these structures resemble ancient European engineering, possibly connected to Roman aqueducts or roads. Another huge debate started when a Roman coin was allegedly found near Oak Island, but no one knew exactly where it came from. This raises questions about why a coin from ancient Rome would be anywhere near Oak Island. The mysterious shipwreck near Mahone Bay has not been fully explored yet, but sonar scans suggest it is old. Some researchers believe it could be from the 1400s or earlier, meaning it predates Columbus, while others think it might be much older, possibly linked to medieval or ancient seafaring fars. If any evidence ties this wreck to the Romans, it would be groundbreaking. Oak Island's bizarre finds, such as wooden platforms and tunnels found deep underground, suggest someone was here long before the official timeline allows. Skeptics argue that many of these discoveries could be explained by later European travelers or early settlers, but the problem with that theory is that many of these artifacts and structures predate recorded colonial history. The sheer number of unexplained artifacts and structures suggests someone was here long ago, whether it was explorers, treasure hunters, or an unknown civilization history leaving its mark on the island.